Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be going over everything that we currently know about Fortnite Season 11. It usually seems like the beginning of new seasons kind of just sneak up on you, and at least in my opinion, it's the same thing with Season 11. A lot of people had very negative opinions about Season X as a whole, so I think they'd be happy to hear that Season 11 really is right around the corner at this point. So without further ado, let's get right into discussing what we know about the new season. Alright, so let's start this off by talking about the starting date and the starting time of Season 11, which, trust me, is actually very important. Season 10 is currently scheduled to end on October 6th, so a little less than a week away. And based on the fact that every new season in Fortnite history has begun immediately after the previous season ended, although there's a chance that this time around that changes, the most likely outcome is that Season 11 begins on October 6th. And there's actually something that's very noteworthy about that. Next season is going to be the 11th season in Fortnite's history, so obviously there's been 10 previous seasons before it. Out of those 10 previous seasons, 9 of them have begun on a Thursday, and one of them, which was actually the first season ever, began on a Wednesday. However, if you take a look at your calendar, you'll notice that October 6th isn't a Wednesday or a Thursday, it's actually a Sunday. When I first heard about that, I thought that maybe Fortnite just used a weird placeholder date, because the way players usually tell when the new season is going to begin is by going into the current battle pass and looking at the countdown of how many days are remaining. And one or two times in the past, that countdown actually ended up being misleading, so I was thinking that maybe this is just another example of that. But if you check the official Fortnite website and go to the Season 10 Frequently Asked Questions page, one of the questions is, when does the Season X Battle Pass end? And the answer is, the Season X Battle Pass began on August 1st and ends on October 6th. So I think that really all but confirms it. But it's not just the scheduled starting date of Season 11 that's interesting, the starting time of the season is interesting as well. In Fortnite right now, there's a set of challenges named a Meteoric Rise, which has a live countdown until it expires. If you calculate the time when the countdown is set to end, it's Sunday, October 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And since these are Season X challenges, it would only make sense for them to expire right as Season 11 begins. Now, much like how seasons pretty much always start on Thursdays, they also almost always start at around 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the time when the previous season ends, then there's a little bit of downtime, and then the new season begins. So the question here is, why would Fortnite just randomly change both the start day and the start time for Season 11? Well, the current theory, and the one that I think makes the most sense, is that Fortnite has a major live event planned that will end Season X and begin Season 11. We pretty much always get some kind of live event towards the very end of a season, but we've yet to see an event like the one I just described where the new season begins immediately after the event ends. And the reason why is fairly obvious, since as I just mentioned, seasons almost always end on Thursdays at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, very few people would be awake/available to experience the event. People have school, people have work, it's super early in the morning/late at night for the entire United States, it would just be an awful idea. However, Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is pretty much the perfect day and time for a live event. It's a day on the weekend, so the majority of people don't need to worry about school or work. And in a past update blog, the Fortnite developers even said, quote, "Weekends are the ideal time for the largest number of players to be able to experience special one-time moments," which is exactly what a live event is. Plus, in terms of time of the day, in the entire USA, it's right around lunchtime, so not too early or too late. And although I'm not an expert in time zones, I believe most of Europe is around 5 to 6 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time. So it'll be a little later in the day for that part of the world, but it also shouldn't be too late. Now, obviously, it's not going to be perfect for everybody across the world. One example I can think of is that's going to be something like 4 a.m. in Australia, but it's the best that Fortnite can do. And if you guys can remember any past live events, that's usually right around the time of the day that they take place. So now, the next question is, what exactly should we expect out of this live event? Well, as of right now, the clear-cut number one theory is that we're either going to be getting a totally new map in Fortnite or just a massive overhaul of the current map. As I briefly mentioned in one of my previous videos, this theory began about 2 weeks ago when data miners discovered 11 names for new points of interest on the map. Those names are Beachy Bluffs, Camp Cod, Dirty Docks, Frenzy Farm, Holly Hedges, Lazy Lake, Mountain Meadow, Power Plant, Slurpy Swamp, Sunny Shores, and Weeping Woods. So obviously they follow the typical pattern of Fortnite town names, where both words start with the same letter. Now, if this were just 2 or 3 new town names, it really wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary for a new season, because that's right around the average number of towns that get added/changed when a new season begins. But 11 towns, on the other hand, is way more than we've ever seen added at any time in Fortnite's history. But even when this was all discovered, people were still a bit skeptical. They theorized things like maybe the discovered town names could be a part of something like an LTM, or maybe they aren't even town names at all. However, a few days later, the same data miners discovered more interesting information that points towards this new map theory being correct. The first is this image, which is an unlockable loading screen in the game. Although it doesn't 100% prove anything, and it can definitely be interpreted a bunch of different ways, the number one theory right now is that it signals the end of the current Fortnite island/map. You can see the characters waving at the battle bus, and people are interpreting that as it flying away to a brand new island. Another piece of evidence which further backs that theory up is that the same data miners discovered a leaked name and description which they're fairly confident is for the live event. The name is simply The End, and the description is, "Join the fight to restore our timeline before it's too late." Someone even tweeted their own little personal extension to that theory by saying, "This season was literally a goodbye/best of season. Epic brought back points of interest from the past which players love so that we can actually say goodbye to them." I think that's definitely a really interesting thought, and it also lines up with everything else that we've talked about in this video so far. The next thing I want to discuss is another important discovery by data miners regarding Season 11 and also possibly the event leading up to it. Throughout the duration of Season X, Dusty Depot has undergone a bunch of different changes. And at the time I'm recording this video, there's basically a bunch of metal construction on top of one of the 3 Dusty buildings. Well, data miners discovered that when the construction is eventually completed, the final result is going to be a rocket launching platform with a fully completed rocket ship. If that sounds kind of familiar, it's probably because the first major live event in Fortnite history, which occurred all the way back in Season 4, revolved around a rocket flying all throughout the Fortnite map. And that ended up playing a huge part in Fortnite Season 5, specifically because it created rifts, which were a huge theme in that season. But with the current rocket, there are a bunch of different theories for what it'll end up doing / being used for. The more conservative theories are that it'll do something similar to the last rocket launch event and just make some kind of minor changes to the map. But on the other hand, you have people theorizing some more bold things, such as the rocket will end up either destroying the current map or that it'll be used as a way to fly to a new map. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. Let me know if you guys are excited for Fortnite Season 11, and also what you're hoping to see when the new season is actually released. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.